What's something Gen Z isn't ready to hear? TikTok is a Chinese espionage tool. You can't change the world by ranting on the internet. You're a lot like previous generations. Yep, this 100%. I think we have been duped into thinking there are distinct divisions between generations. They are not distinct. We have more in common than not. Faking a mental illness isn't cool. It's really okay to have evolving views. Sometimes it takes age, experience, and growth to realize that there are different ways to reach your goals. It's totally okay to think differently in your 20s than you do a couple decades in the future. In the real world, 99% of people don't care about your feelings, and that's the hard truth. A lot of Gen Z is addicted to electronics. I'm not saying go outside, you damn kids, but the amount of time kids are on their phones or tablets or computers is changing the structures of their brains as their brains are in formative stages. I'm a millennial, and I've noticed how my need for constant gratification and giving my brain the easy route, watching TV instead of reading, has gotten worse over the years. It honestly kind of worries me. There was a post a while ago about kids now not being able to self-entertain or be bored. It's also concerning how many kids devote their sense of self-worth to feedback from the internet. I get antsy when the Wi-Fi goes down for a few days. I can't imagine how these kids would handle something like that. Millennial here. I used to be backquote with it, but then they changed what backquoted was. Now what I'm backquote with isn't backquoted, and backquote what's it seems weird and scary to me. It'll happen to you, said by Abe Simpson, but is something I find painfully relatable. And if you're Gen Z, then you'll feel it too one day sooner than you think. Everything people experience and do in society has mostly been done and experienced before. The tech changes, but humans and the world, not so much. I'm on my 56th trip around the sun point. It always sort of amazes me how many times I've heard the same news over decades, and I'm adding a second one, because it is a current topic. ONG isn't going away. Maybe someday as tech keeps advancing, but it isn't happening anytime soon. How all generations are pretty much the same in the end. Everyone pretty much feels that their generation is the most world-changing, interesting, and special generation there ever was, only to be outdone by the next and become the new boomers. I was born in '81. The older people in my life always left us with a sense that they would be able to tell us how it is or how it was going to be. If you think it's bad now, just wait until, or it gets better once you're able to, things like that. I'm sorry, but I feel like I have absolutely no valuable guidance for the younger folks. We're all in uncharted territory, them especially so. There are no constants that apply anymore. It's exciting because I have faith that they will be fine and will ultimately be the ones to right the ship, so to speak, but they will do so under their own guidance. Learn how to work an actual computer, not just an iPad/iPhone. I expected my students would basically be coding, because they would be so much more tech smart than us, but very few of them know how to type on a keyboard properly and struggle with any kind of Microsoft Office stuff. Depression is a serious thing that isn't just I wanna die lol. It's all we support mental health until someone mentions they haven't showered in a while or brushed their teeth. Mine got so bad I couldn't even get up to pee. I would just lay there until it got so painful I had to give in. And just telling us that it's gross and we should do it does nothing to help the problem. We already know. Keep an open mind, guys. Companies providing food, energy, supply chain and physical goods production services are underrated. Software companies are overrated and abundant. Software provides help, but it is not the main thing. The scarcity of physical goods causes war and inflation. You are going to turn out like boomers in the sense of how you feel about the next generation. You won't believe it until you see it happen with the next generation. As a Gen Zer, I'm now watching other Gen Zers and even millennials have that attitude with Gen Z. All generations have the those damn kids attitude with the next generation, and all new generations have the okay boomer with the previous generations. Maybe not in profound ways, but on some level you're gonna mess up the world like the millennials did, like Gen X did, like the boomers did, like the greatest generation did, and like every other generation before you did. I feel like millennials tried so hard to break the mold on everything, Always looking for some way to upset the status quo, or disrupt some cultural norm, or innovate in technology. 2000 to 2015 was an enormous shift in everything. The last 5 years has been a whole lot of absolutely nothing from teens and young adults. They've done nothing but sink their creative energy into social media content designed for the largest audience possible and shy away from anything that might cause someone to unsubscribe. The edgiest things they know how to make always come in meme format, designed to be shared and liked by the masses. It's sad and boring. The world is probably not going to end. It's just going to get worse. You can't cancel everything. If you put the cancel tag on everything, then it all starts to blur together and no one will take the real problematic people/things seriously. The internet is just as much a tool for information as it is for disinformation. Spend less time on it, and you will have far better mental health. Unionize and fight harder than previous generations did. This must be done, IRL. Just because you want a mental or physical disorder doesn't mean you have it, and means you are fetishizing other people's issues. I don't mean you should accuse people who actually have these of faking. By the way, just the ones you know are. By putting this on the media, you might be hurting your own reputation for future jobs etc. Because everything stays on the net, and I don't want to see you ruin your life because of this. You have worries in your life, and for those of you pretending to have these issues, I want to know why. It's not fun to not be able to even go to the store without gear of getting hauled to the ear. To clarify, this is the Gen Z that are doing this, not all. Millennial here. It's getting around that time where you're about to start experiencing the same thing my and every other generation experienced at some point, if you haven't already, and it sucks. The previous generation from you is about to / already has forgotten what it was like being young, and they are going to start shitting on you for being lazy or stupid. You're not. You're young and the world is, and always will be weird, especially when you're new to it. Just ignore the other millennials giving you a hard time just like our parents did. You'll be fine. You got this. I sometimes feel like my generation never really had a moment. I hope that we can secure yours. Stay strong, stay safe, and milk life for every ounce of happiness you can, because that's all that matters. Good advice and a clear path are going to be hard to come by. The world you were raised in isn't like any other time in the past. Technologically or culturally, the planet is changing, politics are changing, and the easy access to information has somehow made things even worse. Older groups who make general complaints about Gen Z is really projecting what their own generation does. Older generations are addicted to their phones and the propaganda they read on it just as much if not more. Many of you will grow up to raise emotionally immature children if you can't learn to put your phones down. I don't really care about any other side effect of phone addiction, but even amongst my fellow millennials I've seen a lot of parents who don't notice their kid needs something because they were stuck on their phone. We won't know how much that'll mess them up until they themselves are adults, at which point a lot of you are gonna get confronted for never being emotionally present for your kids. I hope you're ready to have that talk with your adult kids when you're 50 or so.